aspect, you're going to take that whole emotional stimuli and direct your next series of trades, not because you're following the model, not because you're doing the right thing with your trading model and risk management. Now you're trading for a outward response to something that probably isn't really going on, but in your head it is. You're afraid that you're not going to be able to present with details and results to your spouse when they ask. And they might not ask, but you're afraid they're going to now. And you're going to wear it on your face and they're going to ask you now, what's wrong? What did you do? Well, you know your wife, you know your husband, they know you, they know what you did, you know, they know you're troubled, and you don't want to lie to them because that compounds it. Then you have to tell them what you don't want to tell them. I was thinking about what I showed you the other day, which I felt really good about, and you didn't really show any kind of interest in it, and you kind of like dismissed it as it really wasn't a big of a deal. So now today, when I was trading, I didn't do as well as I should have, and then I tried to fix it, and then I created more problems because I didn't want to have this conversation that I'm having with you right now. And now I want to go back in there and over leverage everything and just go full fucking forward, just go in and risk it all because now I'm just angry about everything. How about that? I've done that before. I've done that before. And unfortunately, it causes a great deal of animosity, not for the spouse, but for you as the trader, because you know you let yourself become unraveled. And it's so easy to see the very moments where you could have took control and said, no, but you don't. Why is that? Because you're allowing the emotions, the things that are external to your trading, you're making that the driving factor in your decisions on when and how you're going to trade. And that is what causes you to blow up. You're trying to invite other people to run your business. Your spouse is your spouse. They're not your CEO. They're not your boss. This is your trading business. Unless they're trading the account with you, they're not employee. They're not boss. They're not co-partner. They're outside of the company. Period. They're no different than your wife being your wife, your husband being your husband, and the company you work for right now. They have no place in that company. They can't go there, have a say in how the business is ran. In the same way with your trading. That's how it's got to be. That's how it has to be. And some of you think, well, you know, I'm going to start this with my partner, with my spouse, and we're going to do this. And we're going to do, I mean, I'm telling you, unless you are the freaking extreme exemption, which I can't even imagine where that even exists, because two minds about money are rarely ever on the same page. If you look at where divorce is, usually, you know, what's the catalyst for divorce? It's number one, infidelity. And why is infidelity? Because you're not happy in the house. Somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or somebody's doing extra that they shouldn't be doing. And the other reason why there's divorce is it's money. So right away, you're inviting an issue that would probably never be a factor if you just listened to me and said, listen, we're going to run a business in trading. I'm the CEO. I'm the chief executive officer. I am the president of the company. I am the sole proprietor. I'm Mr. Everything, or I'm Mrs. Everything, in deference to the ladies that want to do it. But at the end of the year, we'll discuss what was done. And then we'll, at that time, discuss how we will spend the proceeds. That's where you invite the spouse back into the conversation. That's just the way it is. But during the business operations, she's not invited and he's not invited to the board meetings. You're not a board member. And that's how you manage it. That's how you keep the marriage safe. That's how you keep the relationship safe. That's how you keep the emotions and the weight of the opinion of your loved one. Because as men, we can say, "Oh, well, I don't give a shit about what my wife thinks. She don't know nothing." Let me tell you something. If my wife told me I had a trade that I felt good about and I showed it to her and she said, "That's really not all that big of a deal," that would feel like a kick in the nuts to me because her opinion about me and whatever I do means something to me. So I'd never invite that. I just, peacock around. I don't talk about it. I just let her know that I did it and she rolls her eyes and whatever. But that's how I manage it. I don't sit down and ask for her opinion because she doesn't give a shit. So I never invite her to the board meetings. You may not like this approach. If you have something better, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. But I've been around the block enough times and met with so many people that have tried this with their relationships and it has not been good. It's not been good at all. And if you are going to be a husband and wife team, one of you have to be the CEO and the other person is there just for moral support. That's the only other alternative because two minds looking at this, they're not generally going to agree. I see an opportunity here. I don't know about that. What do you think about this? Oh, shit. There you go. You have a divided mind. Two minds risking the same capital that have a relationship, a family, a household to manage as well. I promise you, the male will bring in problems to that structure. It may not be visible in the beginning, but it will manifest itself because we're wired to be like that. We're the caveman. We do these things, and we are more willing to take risks that the women aren't. Women are nesters. They're they know that they have to take care of shit when it's time to take care of shit. Men, I'll get around to it whenever you get down to it. If I don't want to do it right now, I ain't got to do it. Don't tell me how to do my weekend, woman. I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it. And then she puts her foot down and says, "This is the way you're going to do it." And there's a fight, and then he ultimately listens and has it done. But you can't have that in trading. Somebody has to know that they're the one that is making the decisions, and the other one is subordinate to that, whether it be the male or the female, the husband or the wife, doesn't matter. But one of them is the chief executive officer, the president of the company, everything, the CEO. You're the one, and the other one does everything to allow that partner to succeed. Cheerlead them on. Don't place any more stress on them that needs to be. Let them talk to them when they want to talk about it and be encouraging all the time. And ladies, if you're listening, I can tell you as a male, that's how you encourage your husband. That's how you keep him doing it for the right reasons. You let him do it. You give him space, but you encourage him and you don't pry. So what did you do today? Let him tell you. Trust me, if he's done well, you're going to know all about it. And if he doesn't want to talk to you about it, chances are he's probably in drawdown. He's going through something. Let him talk to you when he's wanting to talk to you. Because if you start asking questions, it's going to make that even worse. And he's going to go right back to his computer. He's going to go right back to his account and he's going to try to fix it so that way he doesn't have to feel uncomfortable in front of you in your eyes. Gentlemen, give me an amen if you know what I'm talking about and you've been there. Because that's exactly how we wreck ourselves through our family, through our relationships, even if the relationship is healthy. That's how it sneaks in. That's exactly how it creeps in and overtakes you. because you don't want to look like a failure in the eyes of your loved one. That's your life partner. You chose to be with that person for life, maybe brought children into the world. And you don't want to look like you don't care enough about your finances or why you're doing it. When it's normally just, that's a loss. It's drawdown, big deal. And if he tells you, hey, I took a loss today, it's okay, honey. You'll get it back. You don't need to rush to get it back either. You'll be fine. Easy. Encourage, say little, let him do most of the talking. If he doesn't want to talk, leave it just like that. And you will not inspire him to feel like he has to fix it. And just go about your business. Run your household the way you normally would do. Because if you give this gentleman any more reason to feel like he has to put out a fire when there ain't one, he'll start one. And then everything unravels very quickly. And many times I've had students that, because they short circuited and lost the money that they had invested, then problems started between them because of the animosity of the husband lost control. The spouse did not support him as he would wanted to see her support him. And he used that as an excuse to go in there and be reckless, and then held a grudge against her for being upset that he was reckless and lost their money. And then they're divorced. So it's much, much more than blowing your account or losing your funded account if you are married. If you're going into this with two minds, the other person in that relationship is not a board member. And they have to understand that they're not a board member. You're benefiting by the proceeds and gain that this company presents at the end of the year, but you're outside of it. And you're a cheerleader for the one that's running it. You don't get in the way. You don't try to say what we're going to spend the money on while you're still earning it throughout the year. You earn it for the year, and then you sit down as a partnership in the marriage. Because now you've taken income out of it. How are you going to spend it? Then you sit down and say, now you're a board member of the marriage. How do we spend this money and both be happy about it? That's how you manage this. That's how you do it. If you have children, I'll say this and I'm going to end it. If you have children that are under 17, you can pay them each year and they don't have to have any income taxes taken from that. You have to start an LLC to do that. I recommend an S Corp, but you talk to your accountant and find out. If you're in the States, it's S Corp. But if you have adult children, you can set up a family management LLC where you can pay them basically a gift each year, and you pay it through the LLC, and they don't have to pay taxes on that income. And let your accountant tell you all this stuff, but it will allow you to transfer money into them, into their hands, and they don't have to pay taxes on all that stuff. And they can also write off expenses against that, but you have to let your accountant tell you all that. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax preparation person. I'm just telling you, you go talk to someone that can tell you do all those things. But there's so many things you can do once you set this up as a business and it's profitable. Like you can do a lot of things that you as an employee at the job you're working right now, you don't have any advantages to that. Like your health benefits. You know, I don't personally have health insurance because it's too exorbitant. Even though I have lots of money, I refuse to pay the Obamacare bullshit that they put in place. I'll pay for whatever I got to pay for when I get sick. I don't give a shit. I ain't worried about it. I ain't paying deductibles or not deductibles. I ain't paying all these high premiums for something I'm not needing to spend money on. But eventually, because I'm now 50, I have to now start thinking about that because what happens if I fall ill to something? Like um, multiple sclerosis is in my family. Diabetes is in my family. Heart disease and cancer is in my family. God forbid in Jesus' name I have any of that stuff. I'm healthy. I don't have anything wrong with me per se. Um, but any time in these years right now, that can change. Something can happen, and boom, I find out I have something that's I have to contend with, and then it would be a high expense issue. Well, if you were working at your job, you have to have health insurance and you pay for that through deductions in your weekly paycheck or biweekly, whatever you get paid. When you set up your LLC and you're making money, you can write off your expenses for health insurance. And everything you spend is a write off on that. Your expenses for your cell phone, your automobile, insurance, gas, all those things. And if you make yourself someone online, like an influencer where you're seeing his image, a portion of your clothing and things like that, all of your travel writes off, hotel stays and travel expenses. As long as you talk about or do business, during the time while you're there, if you're working on vacation, that's permissible. And 50% of the things that you spend on restaurant and food is a write off. But you don't have that as an employee. Like you don't have that benefit as an employee, which makes working for someone else stupid. So if you have this skill set, you learn how to do this and you're able to make money, un- unless you're just foolish with money and you don't want to do the right things, you need to incorporate yourself. And if you start making a lot of money, you want to get like umbrella policies that if you drive down the road, someone does the pull in front of you, hit the brakes, and then you rear-ended me. You know, you want to get an umbrella policy that protects you from being sued for a lot of different shit. Okay, and they're not terribly expensive. I think like $2,800. You can get like $4.5 million, $5 million coverage from any kind of lawsuits or any kind of like that. It's done. It's handled. You got to worry about it. Okay, and when you start building affluence and you have money, you have to protect yourself from that because there's ambulance chasers there out there all the time. All the time, they're always trying to get something from you. Okay, and you preserve your net worth by having these things in place because if you wear your wealth, people will see it and they're trying to take advantage of it and try to take it from you. And there's ways to prevent all that stuff. And I have lots of conversations I can talk to you about that as we go through the year, but I want you to change your way of thinking about a lot of things, your relationships, because that's going to be impactful to your trading. I want you to think about how you run your work life and how you spend your money, what you spend your money on. All those things are factors on what's going to cause you to be impulsive about trading. If you manage your finances correctly, if you do the right things with your money, you won't be so quick to be impulsive about pressing the button to get a feel good moment because you'll be in a better position mentally because you have all your finances in the right place, all of the insurances in place, the protections, all the things that would cause the average person to be scared and always stressing out. Like I'm not worried about any of that shit. I'm not worried about nothing. Okay. I know, I know any given day something bad can happen, but I don't live my life worrying about that. I'm not going to go into the market to make myself feel good when it does. I don't give a shit. I'm not worried about that stuff. But you, as someone that's now starting how to do all this stuff, if you start falling into success, you don't have that yet because you're going to be new money. And new money isn't generally organized, it's not prepared. Um, you are more interested in clout and showing up and showing out. And there's things that you should be doing to fortify yourself, protect yourself from other people trying to take what you have and victimizing you. So you want to be able to change your perspective on what it is you do in your personal life your management of your marriage, your relationships, and allow this not to be a factor for impulsiveness or allowing that relationship to be toxic. And then because of that toxic relationship, staying with people you know you shouldn't be with. Are you in an abusive relationship? It can be on both sides, physically or emotionally. If you know that's not working, unfortunately, sometimes you can't fix it. And if you're trying to reside with someone like that, that is toxic. And you're going to be more inclined to do things impulsively to give yourself a distraction. Or if I can just make a little bit of money today, it'll remind me that this is the right thing to do and I won't be here long because I'm making money. You're doing something outside your model. You're letting something other than your model tell you when to press the button. And that is going to invite failure. You're going to blow your account. You're going to wreck yourself. All these things compound. And you don't think about it when you first start getting into this because you think, oh, it's just trading. It's just pushing a button. It's so easy. It's up or down. Trading's easy. Trading's easy. But you're listening to people that aren't making money. You're listening to people that are trying to be influencers and managing clout, social media engagement. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm telling you how to run your life like a corporation, run your life like a business, and run your trading like a business. All these things have to be in balance: your personal life, your work life, and your financial decision making and your trading. That all has to be 100% moving in the same direction, not over here doing its own thing and over here doing it. And you're not letting anybody, even in your personal relationships, have a place in the decision making. Because if you do that, you're not in control. You will be impulsive. You will be reckless. You will be reacting emotionally to the stimuli that those relationships present. Everybody has a day where your spouse and you just you're not doing things that would promote a calm environment, an argument of some kind, a disagreement. Everybody has that. Everybody has that. But it's typical for a man to take that out in the marketplace. If you're a trader, you get in an argument with your spouse, like generally our disagreements are my daughter, our daughter. Okay, her daughter biologically, but mine by marriage. But I raised her, so she's my daughter. And I want to see her do things, but I also know my place. But sometimes I say more than I should. And I say, this is what she should be doing. And I don't like the fact that you don't try to convince her that this is a problem for what she's doing and she should be doing that. And then she corrects me and says, no, I'm not going to do that. And I know without her saying so, it's not my place to say any more about it. And it's the truth. I'm not biologically her father, and she's an adult. She's her own person, but I'm also the guy that bails her out. So I have a little bit of a horse in the race here. So I kind of like want to defend myself as much as I can, but I also know my place. I don't want to be too overbearing with it, and then that's usually the source of our arguments. Okay, and when that happens, I'm frustrated because I know I can't breach that barrier that I'm not biologically her dad, even though she looks at me like dad and she respects me more than her biological father. I never press harder. So that stress is a real factor for me. But I don't go into the marketplace and say, I'm pissed off at my wife. I'm disappointed that my daughter's not doing what I told her to do. So I need to feel good about something. Let me go in there and over leverage the British pound because I need to distract myself. No, I don't do that. I don't do that at all. But what I do is I go and to PlayStation and I play a particular round in Splinter Cell where I kill all the Russians and I take it all out on them. And that's what I do. I go right there. I play that one round and I do it one time. It takes me 20 minutes and I feel good and it's done. That's my coping mechanism. If I don't have that, I probably would have gone into the marketplace. So you have to have some kind of hobby outside of trading so you can channel your energy, whether it be positive or negative energy. It might be the gym. It might be working out. It might be martial arts. It might be playing music or a musician, some kind of instrument or something. It may be art. Whatever it is, you need to have something outside of trading. So that way you can channel your energy and say, okay, I'm investing my time in trading. I'm investing my time in speculating. But once I'm done that, disconnect. Go do something outside of that. Reading, some kind of club, you know, hunt, whatever. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Like that guy Pat, he surfs. That's cool. I like looking at that. To me, I'm waiting for a fucking shark to come up out there and grab his ass up one time. I hope it doesn't happen, Pat. But I'm just expecting that shit all the time when I see people surf. I'm not going to do that. I love it, but I'm not going to do it. But you have to have a hobby. Somebody has to, you know, be able to draw your attention away from the markets and you not feel like you're going to suffocate because you don't have your lifeline connected to the marketplace. And I had a long period of my time as a younger man where everything was that. There was this umbilical cord, this oxygen, you know, like a scuba diver. Like it was my air supply. I had to constantly have my quote trek. I had to constantly be talking about the marketplace. I had to constantly be able to see it. If I was visiting other people and I didn't have my quote trek with me, I would ask them, hey, can I turn on your cable network and see what the financial news network said, which is CNBC now, but that I had to see what the ticker tape said. Every 10, 11 minutes, it would go about, I would say, okay, here's S&P, here's bonds, here's whatever market I'm looking at. That's not normal. I never had a chance to unplug. You have to schedule that. You need to do that in the beginning. So that way it keeps balance in your life. And it won't be like it was for me, where it was everything this. Relationships suffered, children relationships suffered, everything, my personal health, my fitness, everything, everything was second to this. The markets were my God. It was my religion. It was my everything. And I was offended that other people didn't respect it like I had respect for it. And I was offended with my own family members when they asked me to spend less time with it and spend more time with them. That's not normal. That's not balanced. And that is not proper for a household or a family to run efficiently and everyone feel like they're doing their part. And unless you schedule it in the beginning and you run your life and your trading business like that in the beginning, it's real easy to get obsessive with it. Even if you're not an obsessive person, when you start making money, it changes you and you want more of it. Especially if you never came from money, it makes you feel like that's your whole purpose and that's who you are. And without that, you're nothing. When that's not true, which is the reason why you have to have something outside of trading, outside of your marriage too. You have to have some kind of outlet that is not trading. And whatever that is, you need to make sure that you're doing that away from the marketplace and not thinking about, I got to get back to charts. I got to get back to trading. If you're carrying your phone around while you're doing that other thing, or you're out with your spouse or significant other, and you're constantly looking at your phone, what's trading view? What's the market saying right now? That's not healthy. That's not healthy. And that's how it started with me. And all of a sudden, it'll overtake every moment of your life. And you're a slave to it versus mastering it. You want to be the master of it. You're the CEO. You are Mr. Everything, Mrs. Everything. You're the corporation. You run the show. You call the schedule. When are you working? When you're not going to work. But if you let the money become your master, you're going to slave for it all the time, and you're not going to be happy no matter how much you make. It won't be enough. It won't ever be enough. No matter how much money you make, when you fall victim to it like that, you are never satisfied. You never feel a sense of accomplishment. And you always feel like it's not enough. And you want to do what? Pour money, pour money, pour money into the marketplace. Why? Because that's the report card. And when you make it and you get profits, it's not enough. So what are you going to do? More of it, which means your family's going to suffer. They're going to see less of you. And I was a ghost in my own home for years. They seen me. Yep, I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes. That's a lie. Hours later, I'm still in there looking at shit, trading this and trading that. I'm done. I come out, everybody's sleeping. And I walk through their house and I would watch them sleep. That's a lonely feeling when I would repeat that over and over and over again. And I would tell myself out loud, I can't do this. Like, I got to stop and stop trading and focus on them. I got to spend more time with them. And I could literally see them growing up, laying in their bed, faces changing, becoming, teenagers, and reminding myself, I've said this so many times, but my obsessive compulsive disorder fed into, I got to keep doing that. And you don't realize it, but you lose time. A couple months becomes a year, and a year becomes several. And all of a sudden, now they're adults. And you can't call that time back. You missed it. You wasted it. You blew it. And that's one of the things I hope that you listen to me with, because I know I can make you successful. That's a given. I know I can, but you have to give yourself permission and the time to get there. But the ones that will do it, they'll still mess up by doing the things that I did, because you get too ingrained with trying to make more when it's enough. What is enough? You have to determine that for yourself. But whatever that is, once you hit it, you stop. Then you spend time with your family. Do something outside of the marketplace, your hobby, whatever. Have a life. If not, I promise you, you'll be like these weirdos that's online that are constantly on social media. They're not with their own families. They're talking shit about everybody else. They ain't even proven they're profitable. They're going to sue everybody. You don't want to be that. Okay. That's not what you want to be. You want to be happy. You want to be able to be uplifting to not only yourself, but other people that know you and your family members. And you want to be successful. That's living. That's the purpose of living, is to help other people be fruitful in their life, and you be a catalyst to help them do that. That's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. We're not here to shit on another person, tell them that they're not good enough or not as good as you are. Run around telling everybody, you're better than them, have more money in the accounts and bullshit. That's dumb. And people that really have money, they don't go around doing that. That's somebody that doesn't have money. And when you're young, you think you want to go out there and do that and flex on everybody. And nobody will care when you do it. They'll have less respect for you when you try to do that stuff. So don't even start. Don't even start it. Keep your mind on running your own business and mind your own damn business. Don't worry about anybody else. Whatever happens, happens. Always be in a position where you're prepared as best as you can, and have a game plan and stick to it. And in my opinion, everything I talked about tonight is how I teach my children. Like, these are the life lessons I learned. These are the things that I learned to get myself prepared for balancing my marriage when I wasn't balancing it well. Um, I'm thankful that I'm aware of it now. I wish I was more aware of it earlier. Like I wish I would have been more aware of it 26 years ago. But 26 years went by like that. And it's very much a source of regret for me. Despite being successful, despite being where I am, I'm not happy with the way I put my family aside to do everything that I did to be where I'm at now. Because it's hard. It's hard to articulate what it feels like when you can't be satisfied as a young man wanting something you can't have, which is the acceptance and approval of a loved one that they are gone. So you have to do what? You replace it with something you attribute to equal or more value. And that was image, that was money, that was me becoming inner circle trade.